Good evening, audience. Thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of Way of the Warrior. My name is Trevor Martin, and I am the CEO and founder of RMF Coaching, focused mainly on leadership coaching as it pertains to CEOs, executives, and the occasional entrepreneur. Tonight, I have with me Samantha Sierra, who is a very dear friend of mine. Samantha, would you tell the audience a little bit about what you do and who you are?
My name is Samantha Sierra, and I am the host of an upcoming podcast called Phoenix Forged. I'm going to be sharing stories from various storytellers about their past trauma and how they overcame it and what steps they took and all that good stuff. So yeah, just sharing and, following my purpose and my passion of, making sure that people realize that your past doesn't have to define your future. You do.
Yeah. Oh man, okay. So I love that. I absolutely love that. And that's a perfect segue into kind of what we talked about doing tonight, right? So usually, audience, it's a series of questions. We're talking about leadership, we're talking about overcoming things in as pertaining to leadership. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. Tonight, we're just going to talk. That's it. There's nothing, there's no guidelines, there's no questions. But the subject line is this: all too often in life, we're faced with dark places, right? And a lot of us come from those dark places. That's pretty much where we were molded, if you want to say. And
Forged.
yeah, there. Oh, you know what? That was perfect. Okay, that was perfect. See, I should have had that, and you did, which makes it even better. So perfect. I absolutely love it. So forged, yes, we were forged in those dark places. Now that doesn't mean, right? That doesn't mean that we're dark. Have aspects
Mm.
possibly as we go through it, but it doesn't mean we are dark. So tonight we're going to talk about what it takes to break through that darkness, to come out into the light and start to lead our own lives with that light. And how do we grab that light and get it to grow? And then what happens after? So Samantha, as we think about that, this is you're perfect for this. As we think about those dark places, what in your mind, what in your mind sticks out? What was some of the hardest things to kind of break free of in your journey?
Oh man. Growing up, I had a pretty normal childhood, I was the oldest of four children,
Hmm.
and I lived in a home with my mom and my dad. And around the age 12, my parents separated and got divorced. My mom moved out of state, and I kind of stepped up and basically became a second mom to my younger siblings
Right on.
and grew up really fast. So then after that, I ended up moving to be with my mom and experienced some trauma. She was in an abusive relationship. There was, physical violence, there was verbal, psychological, emotional, all that stuff. And it was really hard to witness that. And I definitely internalized that a lot. I
Yeah.
didn't really speak about those things. It was just, okay, it's happening and it's just my life.
Yeah.
And then I was always I was always punished for something by my mom's now ex-husband, for stupid things, I would be punished for 2 weeks because I wouldn't let him read my diary. Um, so I ended up meeting a guy, and he had a car, and my ex stepfather liked him. So he let me go out with him. So I was like, hey, cool. I'm going to go and I'm going to escape my
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
and be with this guy. And he gaslit the hell out of me and made it so that I just didn't have any self-worth. And I struggled with that for a really, really, really long time. I was with him about a year or so. And then I ended up back with my dad. And I met my now husband when I was 16. And by 17, I had my first son. And um, yeah, then it was just kind of, I got pregnant. I was a junior in high school,
Wow.
and there was no way in hell that I wasn't going to walk across that stage and get my diploma. So the option was either go to school in my senior year, like prego, or do what I needed to do. So pulled up my bootstraps, went to day school during the day, took my senior classes at night, and you're gonna have to edit that out. Took my senior classes at night and graduated a year early. Yeah, and then from there it just became you're, you're totally gonna have to edit that.
I don't even think I'm going to. That's absolutely amazing. What is that?
That's a train. And they never do that. I mean, they go by, but they're never like,
hey, we're here. No, that was like perfect. We're like all serious and we're
I know, right?
and I'm like, oh, this is deep. And then
okay. So yeah, I graduated a year early and just went on to raise my son, and have our family. And still I was very internalized. I wasn't processing anything.
yeah.
I resorted to just completely shutting down, wearing a mask, and self-harm. I finally opened up about the things that I had experienced and the things that I had gone through to my husband. And for me, growing up, being in an environment where somebody called my mom crazy constantly, I didn't want that label. I didn't want that stigma to be attached to me. So I didn't go through therapy or anything like that. No medication, nothing. So about a decade ago now, I saw the movie The Secret. And it talks about, the power of positive mindset and manifestation and laws of attraction and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, this is all woo woo, like not for me. It's not this stuff doesn't work.
Been there.
But then I was like, what the hell? It's not going to cost me anything to be positive. It's not going to cost me anything to change how I think. And I just started down that path. And I've been on it ever since. And it's literally, like I say it all the time, like change your mindset, change your life. It's so true. It takes a while, but it's worth it.
It absolutely does. And so first of all, thank you for that, because that right there, just what you just did takes so much strength and fortitude and just a willingness to even to bring that up and talk about it, right? All too often we're like, you know what? I've got a library back here, and clear in the back in the storage closet is where I just kind of stack all that dark shit. And I don't ever want to bring it out, because when I bring it out, then I have to think about it. I have to address it, and I feel, and I don't even want to do it.
Yep.
But there comes a point in time where all of a sudden something clicks and we go, you know what? I might just be able to talk about it and share it because there's a purpose for it. And that purpose all too often is somebody needs to hear the story. Somebody needs to hear about you being pregnant in school and going, you know what? My situation is my situation. And I'm dealing with that. And I know exactly what I want. So I will go do. I will go get it. I will walk across that stage. Right?
Hell yeah.
From hell or high water, I'm walking across that stage.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah. And I'm a first gen high school graduate. And like both of my parents are high school dropouts. Neither of them went to college. Both of my grandparents, neither of them, like actually none of my grandparents finished high school.
Wow.
So I'm the first one in my family to have a high school diploma. And I'm now 37. I'm back in school because I said, you know what? I also want to be the first one in my family to earn a degree.
Yeah, you did.
Boom.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm an overachiever, so I'm doing it with honors.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, you know what? Because I figure if I'm going to go and do something this late in life that people normally do, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm going to make sure that I do it for something that I legitimately love, which is, organizational leadership now at this point.
Love it.
And I'm going to try my hardest, and I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish and make sure that I'm proud of it.
Oh man, yeah. You
I
know
don't
what?
do things half-assed.
Right? Go big or go home.
Yeah.
You know, what I love about that last statement is you said, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to make sure I'm proud of it. The end result, right? I'm not just throwing things, here and there at it. I'm giving it my all. It's me.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is me. And I will, when it's all said and done, and they write that shit in stone, you best believe I'm going to be proud of it.
Fuck yeah.
Man, I absolutely, Samantha, your story, and I think that's one of the biggest things, why it was so easy for me to connect with you. And I constantly quote you, and some, like, as my friend Samantha Sierra says, people find your people.
Find
And
your people.
yeah, exactly. See, I even messed it up there. Damn it. But but
It's
but
okay.
but that's what matters, right? Find your crowd, find your family, find
Yeah.
your village, find your people. Because when you do,
Mm.
when I connected with you, like the power there, right? Like, okay, here's another individual, not the same story, but been in some dark shit. I can relate, and I can appreciate the journey that you've been through. And now, okay, I want to talk more about mine. I want to talk more about yours. I want to be there with you. And then how do we take those journeys and the lessons learned there, and how do we share them with others so that they can apply them in their lives? Samantha, as you think about, as you were talking about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, and I'll be damned, I'm walking across that stage. I'm raising my son. I'm having the family. I'm doing life the way that I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
When we've been blanketed in darkness for so long, it's so hard. And I'm going through some shadow work with myself. My friend Jesse Risley is taking me through some shadow work, and let me tell you, side note here, wasn't prepared. Like, mentally, I'm like, okay, like, do some shadow work. I'll go into this. Yes, I have an open mind. And then it was like, wow, like, okay, like this,
Maybe not.
like, oh, why was I second guessing myself or this? Because it helps, because it's real, because it's necessary. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand that we all need help and we need guidance. So to the audience, and for those that are struggling in the darkness, or maybe Samantha, maybe they're just starting to kind of break free, right? I always think of Venom, like, right, those black, like, tendrils, like, oh,
Yeah, those tendrils.
I'm trying to get out, let me go. But right,
Yeah.
so people trying to get out of that, or maybe they're stuck in the darkness, what would you say to them? Like, how do you get that mindset that says, be damn, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm living my life, and I got to move forward.
Yeah. Well, so I think that there's two different scenarios, right? So you
Okay.
have the people who are still stuck in the darkness.
Yep.
First off, they need to make a decision.
Right on.
Because in order for us to move at all, first you have to decide that you're going to move.
Preach.
And taking that first step is the scariest thing.
Huh.
Because for me, like, you talked about how, like, the library in the back of your head, and it's like, what else is going to be in there? What am I going to find?
Mine's
That
comic
was my
books.
that was my black hole. Like, I have this box that I just kind of shoved all the trauma in, and it was like, up, I'm gonna shove that in, up, I'm not gonna process that, up, that's too difficult, up. And it was like grabbing everything and throwing it into a box. And I'm not a construction worker. Like, that shit was bad. It was poorly constructed. My lid was like haphazard. And it was like the hinges kind of didn't work
Right.
sometimes. So I would be like, everything is awesome, everything is fine 1 minute, and then I'd be a freaking mess the next, because my box would fly off, like the lid of my box would fly off, and all those demons would start rushing out, and now I have to go back and shove them all in the box again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started lifting that lid, pulling something out and shutting it. That one thing I processed, that one thing I directed head on, over and over and over and over again. And it's hella hard. It's really tough. One of the biggest things for me in my journey is emotions, identifying emotions, feeling emotions, because so often we have happy, sad, anger, shock, surprise, curiosity, but that's like surface level emotions. What about the emotions that are underneath? You
Yeah.
know, you have anger, but there's furious, there's rage, there's mad, there's frustration. When you have happy, you have joyous, you have excited, you have enthusiastic. What do all those emotions feel like? They're all very different.
Yeah.
And until you can start identifying what those emotions are and understanding how you feel, that's how you start moving forward. That's how you try to recreate the emotions that you're feeling. Or when you start going down that dark path again, you can notice, hey, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated.
Yeah.
Frustrated leads to being angry. Angry leads to being rageful. Like, there's a buildup. It's understanding and identifying these smaller emotions before they become big monsters. Instead, we just throw on a mask because it's much easier to walk around like this until we're freaking raging maniacs.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Guilty.
she's crazy. Like, just process your stuff. And I know it's difficult. It's super difficult. Nobody wants to look back at the things that they've been through. Nobody wants to sit in pain. Nobody wants to relive the things that traumatize them. But here's the thing. We can either keep letting that box overflow and keep pulling and trying to, shove it in there and hope that the lid stays on there, or we can start unpacking them.
Yeah.
That's the choice. So that's scenario one, right? You have to make that decision. Scenario two is the people who are just starting out on their journey, right? The people who
Yeah.
are starting to take those things out of the box. It's hella scary. It's hella emotional.
Terrifying.
Things come up, rage, anger, shame, all of that. You have to start being okay with being uncomfortable. Like, it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to feel whatever emotions you're feeling. Feel them and process them. And when you're starting on this journey, like when I started on my positivity journey, it was I felt like it was kind of like fake it till you make it,
Right.
because I had to train my
Been
brain,
there.
right? Because I was so focused on seeing all the negative things all the time. So it was like searching for positivity, searching for the silver linings. Overly, like, I would nag my husband all the time. I'm like, no, don't put out negativity. He's like, Sam, that's not negativity. That's the brakes. We need to change the brakes. And I'm like, okay, but don't talk about all the other things that could happen if you don't do it. Right? So it was
Right.
like just constantly looking for those things. And it's so easy, especially in the beginning, to become exhausted by it.
Oh,
Right? Because you're
yeah.
not used to feeling positive. You're not used to being happy. You're not used to being positive. So you start feeling like you're faking it. You start feeling like this isn't real. Why am I even trying? And you start becoming complacent in it. And
Wow.
it's so easy to fall back into the patterns of I don't really care about this.
Yep.
So stick
Uh,
with it. Take the
yeah.
step and then keep walking.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Take the step and keep walking, keep moving forward. And to kind of further what you're saying, when we take that step and it's the scariest, and we get to those dark corners where we're like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I know I took the step, but I'm like, I just opened that box a little bit and I saw the claws that came out and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
nope, not ready. And you know
Yeah.
what? I don't even want to anymore. I changed my mind. Folks, like that's when, and Samantha, correct me if I'm wrong here, but like that's when we need our inner circle. That's when we can
Yeah.
go to our support group, the people that we trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say, hey, like I started this journey and man, I don't think I was ready to start it. Or I don't know how I looked inside that box and I saw what's next. And no, I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to those that can help you, that can guide you along the way, that are there for support group. And for those of you that are support, remember, go easy. What's going
Mm-hmm.
on in your head and how you're perceiving what's going on in theirs, it's they're
Sometimes it's very different.
very different. Their world is totally different.
Yeah.
Samantha, I'm gonna real quick. I wanted to ask you, kind of get your advice, and it's on me actually. And this is, as you were talking, this kind of came up in my head. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to really admit this or talk about this, but we're here, so I'm going to anyway. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You clap. I'm like, no.
No,
Okay.
because I'm excited because this is you taking a step in growth
I know.
and it's
Well,
important.
so I appreciate that, and this is, and I promise not to edit this part out. Uh, so in my past, I have been bullied. And in my past, there were some very, very dark times. Um, Youth wasn't, man, high school was, I hate it. I mean, it was just a horror story.
Mhm.
It was hell. And not a lot of support at home. In fact, like zero. When it came to that. So I ended up vowing to myself. I remember going to my adopted father and saying, hey, look, I'm getting bullied. And he said, well, yeah, you are. I mean, look, I mean, of course you're getting bullied. I mean, you're not standing up for yourself. They pretty much, they smell the fear, right? They know it's you. I mean, they're going to bully. It's not a them problem. It's not their problem, Trevor. It's you. You're the problem. So fix you and they won't get bullied. Case closed.
Mm.
Okay. So I did. So I started taking steps to be like, all right, well, I'm tired of being scrawny. I'm tired of being small. I'm going to get bigger. I'll make this so that nobody fucks with me. I'll make this so people just walk around.
Mm-hmm.
The problem
You didn't
is,
do this, did you?
yeah, the problem is that inside a lot's not changing except for one thing that's building constantly, and that's rage. To the
Yeah.
point where when my body catches up, I become the bully.
Mm-hmm.
So I become the very thing that I hate. And in the process, I hurt people. In the process, I become that monster that I was scared of. The
Mm-hmm.
monsters that I was scared of. I become one and I start doing the exact same things that were done to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I say that, and obviously I'm not proud of that. I obviously don't do that. I don't do that anymore today, but that doesn't make up for the things that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to ask this. How do you get in your mind to say, look, the bad things that you're currently experiencing in your life, Trevor, that's not penance for the bad things that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just life. It's just the bad things that are happening.
Yeah.
Because Samantha, I'm going to tell you right now, and there's not a lot of people I share this, but like I can't shake that. So if there's something, another shoe dropped, I'm like, yep, I know why that shoe just dropped because I
Because I
did.
deserved it.
Yes. Thank
But
you.
you don't. But see, this is what happens when we experience trauma, when we experience people belittling us, bullying us, taking away our power, the only thing that we know at that point is to become that person so that you can regain your power back.
Mm,
So you
very true.
become what you hate because you don't want to be you. You assume that role because you don't want to be bullied. So in your mind, you can either be bullied or be the one that's being bullied. What you don't realize is that you could be bullied, you can forgive, and you can overcome. And I think that that's the stage where you are at now, where you need to forgive yourself. That's the stage that I'm at now. I need to forgive myself because a lot of the things I internalize and I probably held back people because no, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you're capable of it. No, I don't think that I don't think that you will be able to do that. And I put my insecurities onto others because others put that on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're, I mean, it happens, Trav.
Yeah.
Look
No,
at you
you're
now.
well, yeah, yeah. Look at me now. I'm sitting here
Now
listening.
you're a bully crusher.
What?
Now you're the bully crusher.
You know. Well, and yes, I am, and because I don't, even to myself, right? So making sure that that I don't still have or project those attitudes, those bullying
Mhm.
mentalities at home, at work, wherever I'm at, right?
Mhm.
And if I do see them, that I call them out. I say, hey, look, let's put a stop to that. That's just not necessary. One of
Mhm.
my passions is being able to go into schools and colleges and talking to the youth and talking about bullying and anti-bullying and the effect that bullying has on people's mental state, especially in today's day and age. But that is a whole nother segment we'll dive into at another time.
I definitely want to go down that path myself.
Yes, absolutely. And by
Yeah.
the way, I seriously hope that you do. And when you do, I'm gonna be there to watch it because you will be phenomenal at it. Speaking of phenomenal, Samantha, you have been that tonight, and I very much appreciate you being a part of Way of the Warrior. It
Of
means like
course.
the world to me. So you're on social media. For the people watching, how can they get a hold of you? How can they contact you? Where should they look to find you?
Right now I'm only on LinkedIn.
Okay.
You can find me Samantha Sierra. Um, I am right now I'm starting a podcast. I
Mm,
said it at the beginning. It I start recording actually next week. I think the first 6 or 7 guests already lined up and scheduled.
can't wait. Mm,
And I'm so excited. That's going to be on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple,
look at you
Google.
go.
Yeah, I'm ready. And you know what? It's like you said earlier, like it's about the connections. It's about having those support people around you. And I gotta give a shout out to Adam Spact. Um, he's really the one who he's really the one who made me realize the power in my story
Wow.
and the extraordinary in my just. So I will forever give him credit because if he didn't give me that push, if he didn't plant that little seed, I wouldn't be sharing my story the way that I am, and I wouldn't be putting it out there, and I wouldn't be encouraging others to share along the journey with me. And, I just want to provide a platform for people like us to get our stories out there and let people know that they're not alone. They're
Right.
not the only people who are bullied. They're not the only people who got pregnant when they were 17. They're not the only people who came from, screwed up family lives. And look at us now.
Yeah.
Like, we're moving the needle. That's what it's all
Moving,
about.
dude, moving the needle. Yes, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Well, audience, I hope that you connect with Samantha. Trust me, you need to, because I mean, I promise you, you will not regret it. I hope that you also enjoyed this segment. Please make sure that you leave your feedback for us. It'll be posted on LinkedIn. Obviously, it's going to the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe. Come on, there'll be more of this more,
Subscribe, guys.
yeah, more episodes to follow. But I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. Once again, Samantha, thank you for being here, and y'all have a good night.
My pleasure.